Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video where today I'm going to be looking at 3 books that changed my life. Now, if you haven't been here before, my name's Paul Marles and I do videos on how to make it, keep it and grow it, and that's your money I'm talking about, with the ultimate aim of trying to achieve some sort of financial freedom. Now, if you like videos like that, then make sure you give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and also smash that notification bell to receive notification of when I produce more videos like this. So today is a bit of a departure from the normal sort of business type videos or KDP book videos, and it's more about books that have changed my life, and there's 3 in particular, although I'm going to give you a 4th book at the end just as a bonus book. Now, I hope you're all having a good day. It's certainly beautiful, warm, sunny here in the UK, and I hope where you are you're having a good day also. So let's have a look at these books that really have changed my life. Now, the first one is a pretty common book that a lot of people that create content online, have online businesses, quote as one of their main books that have either changed their life or had a big impact on their life, and that's Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Work Week. Now, I bought this in 2007 when it first came out, and it really did change my life in a number of ways. In fact, I don't think I'd be doing this YouTubing today or would have set up my KDP business if it wasn't for his book ultimately. And the sort of things that I learned from that book was, first of all, the concept of, with a job, you're basically swapping your time for money. And as you all know, our time on this planet is limited, and there are only so many hours in the day. So basically, there is a cap. If you've got a job, there is a cap on how much you can possibly earn. So from that became the concept of leveraging your time, and leveraging your time by using the internet, by doing things like creating courses or content that's available to so many more people than would have been possible in a sort of pre-internet age. So you're using the internet to work for you whilst you're asleep. So you create your content, it's available to people while you're at work, while you're at sleep, and it's doing the job of, helping you build some sort of a brand and making sales of something that you may have produced or something that you're selling. Could be drop shipping, any sort of business, do it online. And also leveraging your time by outsourcing to virtual assistants. And in fact, I had a business that I built in around 2008, 2009 after I read this book, and it was creating websites and creating an income from ads on those websites. And those websites needed content being produced. So I outsourced the building of the websites and the production of the content for those websites to virtual assistants. And that was relatively successful until Google decided to change their search algorithms, which meant that a lot of the websites were not being found as much on Google search than they were previously. And that actually taught me a lesson. This is a side note. That taught me a lesson in that don't put all your eggs in one basket. So it's the same if you are into things like publishing books on Amazon. Don't make that your single source of income. Always look at various sources of income. And there are quotes that, multimillionaires have numerous sources of income. Now, the other book was a book called Your Money or Your Life. Now, this book taught me how to look at money differently from how I previously thought, and also to look at spending in particular. Now, it talked about the concept as like the 4-hour work week of swapping your time for money and how your earnings, are capped. But it also looked at spending in a different way. So I want to give you this example. Say, for example, you're in a job and you're earning $20 an hour and you decide to buy a new television. That's $500. Rather than looking at that TV as being, just spending $500, look at how much time you've spent earning that money to buy the television. So if you're earning $20 an hour, that is equivalent to 25 hours, which, if you're working something like 8 hours a day, that's approximately 3 days of work. So you're swapping 3 days of your life for a television. And unlike money, our time is limited. So you're swapping a limited life energy for something else. Now, it's not saying that's bad, it's just to be aware of it. And also, it introduced the concept of financial freedom and how you achieve financial freedom. And that's basically building up a pot of savings, investments. These investments could be stocks and shares, could be property, but having investments that provide you with an annual return, a percentage return, and we could say that's something like maybe 4%, which is a pretty standard conservative return on your money. So the way the book makes you look at money is to say, okay, that $500 for a television, how much money would you need working for you over a year to create that money? So what amount would you need at 4% interest a year to create that money? And that works out to $12,500. So in order to buy that, if you were financially free, you would need to have a pot of $12,500 to buy it. So it starts to make you question, actually, is that new television, new car, new pair of shoes, jacket, is it actually worth it? Or is what I've already got doing an adequate job? And you've also got the concept of taking that $500 and instead of spending it, investing it. So now, not only are you not wasting your life energy to buy that television, you're now using that life energy to build a sum that's now increasing in value. So that $500 that you would have spent could in 10 years at 4% compounded interest be, I don't know, $1,000 for instance. I don't know, I'd need to work it out on a compound interest calculator. But you see where this is coming from. So it looks at your earnings and spendings in more detail. And I used to keep a graph on my kitchen wall. And what it was you would chart each month your earnings, each month your spendings. And also, at the bottom of the graph, you would calculate how much you had in savings, look at that at, say, 4% a year, how much total interest would that have earned, and divide it by 12. And it would give you your monthly income from that pot of money. And so the idea was you'd have your spendings, earnings going along like this, and hopefully you would have your earnings from your savings going up and up and up. And when that sort of arrived at the amount that you were spending per month, you would have achieved the holy grail of financial freedom. But it also, made you more conscious of your spending and sort of reducing frivolous spending and saving more, which I think anyone could benefit with, particularly if you are looking at achieving financial freedom at some point in your life. Now, another book, the third book that really sort of had a big impact and I would say changed my life, is a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And this is more along the lines of a spiritual book. I know that time I was reading lots of self-help books and spiritual self-help books. And the way this changed my life was it changed the way I looked at emotions that I was experiencing. So rather than say, you get angry, sad, happy, you would look at those emotions and consciously say to yourself, I'm feeling happy, or I'm angry. So for instance, say you're really boiling up with anger and you've got this anger inside you, and rather than, it affecting you, making you feel stressed, saying things you regretted saying or doing things you would regret doing, and then, that dissipating over time and still being there as a knot in your stomach and simmering away. What you would do is, if you were, say, angry, you would say to yourself, I'm feeling angry at the moment. How is it that I'm feeling? What is it that I'm feeling? And it makes you take just a step back. And straight away, whatever emotion you're feeling, it would sort of dissipate from the extreme. So if you were angry, you would suddenly, I'm not feeling quite as angry as before. But let's look at that in a bit more detail. Why am I feeling this? What is it that I'm feeling? And you start to understand your emotions more. Now, at first, this was quite a hard thing to do, because it's very easy to get caught up in your emotions. And occasionally, every now and then, you'd catch yourself and go, oh, I need to do that exercise and think how I'm feeling in that moment. And I guess it was a form of sort of self-reflection, introspection, form of meditation almost, just analysing how you're feeling. And then over a period of time, it just became automatic, and now I do it all the time. I don't even think about it. However I'm feeling, I'll just take a moment to think, well, actually, what is it I'm feeling? How does it feel? And what is it that's making me feel that way? So if it is something like happiness, you could say to yourself, okay, well, this particular thing is making me happy. Can I recreate that? Can I do it again? If it's something that's making you angry, why is it making you angry? And when you look at it objectively like that, you can start to think that, okay, well, this thing that's made me angry is actually quite trivial. It's quite silly, and it almost can get to the point where, look, this is quite amusing. That has affected me in such a way to make me feel like this. And it's just a good way of looking at your emotions, controlling your emotions, and exploring your emotions more, which I think for everybody would be a fantastic exercise. And then the fourth book, this is just a bonus book, a book written by a chap called Daniel Geffen called The SelfHelp Addict. And as I said earlier, I was reading lots of self-help books, listening to podcasts and audio books, which in itself is not a bad thing. But what this book said was, you're consuming all this content, and it's a form of procrastination. Now, when I read this book, I was wanting to create a blog, a YouTube channel, create another online business. And basically the takeaway message that I took from that book was, instead of consuming, become a creator. Instead of sitting there for an hour watching a YouTube video, sit there for an hour and create a YouTube video. Instead of reading a book, write your own book. Instead of listening to a podcast, create your own podcast. Start creating more rather than just consuming everything that's out there. And in a small way, that changed my life as well. It gave me the impetus to get down and create this YouTube channel for a start, although it has been some 2 years later after reading the book. But that message just kept... Apologies for that, the battery just ran out in the camera. So where was I? So that book just put that message in my mind, and it circulated, and it made me just keep thinking, come on, Paul, you've got to start creating more. You've got to start creating rather than consuming. And so that's part responsible for where I am today and sitting in front of you guys and telling you about these books that have changed my life. So I put the links to these books down below in the description if you're interested in reading them. You can get them on Amazon. I think one of them, The Power of Now, I read as an audiobook from Audible. So I think they're all available on Audible as well if you prefer listening to books. Thoroughly recommend them. And thank you very much for watching this video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. It does help with the channel. And also hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell, and get more videos like this if you like. So thank you very much, and that's it for now. Goodbye.